All right, we're back, and this time Lewis is going to take us through probably some of the most important equipment that a soldier carries other than their weapon. So what do you have here?
Right, well, now I've got all my gear on, I'm ready to go out and patrol. So what I've got here is the famous Chick-on chest rig. This would have been seen in Vietnam, Chinese army. The Russians did actually have a version of this called the lift chick. But
wait, the what?
The lift chick.
Lift chick.
Yeah.
Okay.
they added padded shoulder parts onto it, mainly because then they could carry more magazines. They had 4 extra cells on the front for more ammunition. They only had, instead of having the grenade pouches here, which were beside each other, they actually had them stacked, so they had a set of 4 on each side. Around here we've also got another grenade magazine or grenade pouch, but we've also got this one which is rubberized. This is for your cleaning kit. This would be for the Kalashnikov or whatever weapon you were carrying. This would be your cleaning kit. With the GRU, they would carry an awful lot of signal or marking equipment, mainly because if they needed air support, one guy would be with the radio,
right,
and he would be calling air support, pretty much like US Special Forces does things. So instead of having, on the lift chick that they had, they actually had little pouches on the side, and the first thing I'm going to come to are these. These are parachute flares. You'd screw off the top, so once you screwed off the top there would be a little like drop ring at the bottom. You'd loop that in and pull it. These are green, denoted by obviously the green top and cap on the top. So you carry maybe 2 of those on the front, depending on how many or how much sort of contact you were expecting to get. You'd maybe carry a little bit more because you don't want to carry just 2 so that you can only mark your position twice. You then go over to the next 2 pouches over, which are with AK-47 magazines already inside, and that's pretty much the chest rig for the moment.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm carrying a RD, I think it's an RD-54. That would have been your standard issue backpack for the...
Now, was this duck canvas?
Yes, that was just canvas,
okay.
Yeah. It's also got an inner frame to keep it like that square and a little bit of support. It would have been your standard issue backpack for any of the...
Was this a small patrol pack, or is this for longer?
Because this would have been a patrol pack, yeah.
There's not a lot in there.
Yeah, there's not a lot in there, but the GRU found a way around that. You see an awful lot of pictures from, especially from Afghanistan. Because it's only canvas, a lot of these guys could sew their own patches onto their uniform. So what they decided to do was take pouches off chest rigs that they maybe found on dead insurgents. They take those off and then add the pouches to this, which would make it a little bit more of a patrol pack. For example, there is a photograph I have of these 2 pouches on the side. These would have been maybe extra clothing, extra equipment, food, water. There is a picture that I have found that a guy has modified his so he can carry 2 gallon bottles of water, so he can carry the water for basically all the guys in the group. Another thing these were really handy for was a lot of the Russian radios didn't come with their own carrying bags. They would just come
as a set.
You then have to find something to put it in. That was the perfect size to put one of their squad radios in. So a lot of guys would just throw the squad radio into that.
So this would fit their...
Yeah, that would fit their squad radio, and then the radio antenna would come out of the top.
Okay.
It also doubled as a webbing system. These are actually attached. You cannot remove these unless you cut them.
I was going to say, the H runners in the backpack are actually, they look like one unit.
Wow.
Yeah, they are one singular piece. Those are attached to the actual backpack. Again, this wasn't an exclusive thing to the GRU. This was bog standard Russian infantry. So what they decided was, instead of having a backpack and a weapon, 2 different things you have to remember, let's attach them all in one go, which was a truly terrible idea.
Oh yeah.
To take the chest rig off, I have to literally take everything off. You have to dump everything.
So there's no quick release like on our rucksacks. We could
the only quick release you have is that, and again you still have to take the belt off. Like as you can see, I'm wearing a leather belt, which that would attach to. I've got 2 extra magazine pouches which are stupidly tight. I don't know how you would get your magazines out of there in a hurry. And then I've got this round here. This would be a grenade pouch, so you'd have 2 grenades in here. But a lot of guys actually, there's a little dividing wall you can see there with a stitch. A lot of guys would have taken that out and put a shell dressing in there instead for first aid.
Oh, first aid kit. Okay.
If they didn't have, obviously they couldn't reach the ones in the back.
Did they really wear leather belts for combat gear?
Yes, they would have worn leather belts. They had there was a 2-prong and a single prong. The 2-prong was an officer's belt, and the single prong was a enlisted man's belt, but it would have had probably the olive Soviet buckle on the front. But there are a few photos of them. A lot of guys just took the first belt they got. You know, maybe it wasn't a proper army one, maybe it was one they went into a store in Moscow and bought. So it's...
I don't know about you, Jim, but I'm looking at this going, that would be a nightmare. If I'm in the field and, you know, you get into a battle, you want to drop your stuff quickly.
There's a couple things that strike me. Number one, the cleaning kit is carried on the web gear.
Yes.
Cleaning kit in our rifles is in the rifle.
Yeah, or in the butt of the rifle.
Yeah.
Well, they did have a space for them in the butt of the rifle, but a lot of them preferred, it was easier to get at instead of having to actually physically point your rifle. Because if you can, you know, if you're in a combat situation, you maybe need to, I know it sounds weird to clean your rifle,
yeah.
but you need to get something out.
Well, if you have to clear a jam or something.
If you need to clear a jam, it's easier because you can keep your rifle on target and still check for the...
Or you just hit it up against the tree. Like
we hit it up against the tree, it is an AK after all.
Knock the tree over.
Yeah.
And interesting about the flares, about how they would have to add extra pouches, because usually like flares and smoke, you have to use at least pairs.
Yeah.
You don't just throw one to mark your position. You need, what you're trying to look for is a line.
Yeah.
So you throw out two greens, and that's how you call them either airstrike or artillery.
Well, again, there are pictures of them using Chicom chest rigs, but again, like I said, the Russians made one called the Lift Chick, and it had an awful lot more magazine capacity, grenade carrying capacity, and the flares as well. It had 2 pouches here and 2 pouches there, so you had an extra set of flares to mark your position.
Well, all I can say is I'm glad I was in aviation, so I didn't have to carry all this. I threw my rucksack on the Black Hawk, and I didn't have to worry about it.
So with supply, in
yeah.
the rear with the gear, my comfy little office, my comfy little computer.
So that's basically what a Soviet ground troop from late 70s, early 80s would have worn.
Yep.
And next time we'll talk about the weapon itself.